P52, the St. John Papyrus.
Do you know what this is? I know you think you do. Keep watching, and in 8 minutes you'll know exactly what it is and why it matters. It's tiny, torn, fragile, but this little scrap of papyrus is a giant in the world of biblical archaeology. It's the oldest physical copy of any part of the New Testament that has ever been found. Let that sink in. In 1920, an archaeologist named Bernard Grenfell was working in Egypt, in the ancient city of Oxyrhynchus, a place where the dry sand preserved thousands of papyri. He boxed up hundreds of them and sent them to England. But it wasn't until 1934 that a scholar named Colin Roberts pulled this one out and realized what he was looking at. It wasn't a letter, a tax record, or a shopping list. It was a fragment of the Gospel of John, written in Greek on both sides, the front and the back, meaning it came from a codex or book, not a scroll. That's significant. On one side is John 18:31-33. On the other, John 18:37-38. Jesus is standing before Pilate. It reads, "You are a king then?" said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me." "What is truth?" Pilate asked. Famous words. And they were already being copied and read across the ancient world, within just decades of when John first wrote them. Scholars date P52 to 110 to 135 AD, based on handwriting style, called paleography. That makes this the earliest known physical copy of any New Testament text. It was found in Egypt, but John was writing from Ephesus, hundreds of miles away.
Let's take a look at the timeline. Between 30 and 33 AD, Christ died and rose again. Between 44 and 99 AD, the 12 apostles were martyred, except John, who died peacefully at the age of 99. Roughly 30 years later, the book of John was copied and traveled all the way to Egypt.
This means the Gospel of John had already traveled across the Roman Empire, copied and circulated among early churches, only a few decades after it was written. Let that sink in.
Okay.
How often have you heard skeptics say, "The Bible was copied too many times to trust. We don't have any early manuscripts. It's just a legend that evolved over centuries." But here's the truth. We don't have to guess what the earliest Christians believed. We can read it for ourselves on a papyrus dated within a generation of the apostles. Think about this. There are over 5,800 Greek manuscripts of the New Testament. And this is the earliest one. No other ancient book, not Plato, not Homer, not Caesar, comes close to this kind of manuscript evidence. And yet, no book has been more criticized or dismissed than the Bible. The survival of the Bible makes it unique. For thousands of years, the Bible and those who read it have been persecuted by countries, governments, and despots around the world. Despite all of this opposition, the Bible remains the best-selling book of all time. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God stands forever. Isaiah 40 verse 8. The reliability of ancient books is measured based on historical evidence or how many physical copies of the ancient document actually exist. So how does the reliability of the Bible compare to other ancient books?
Caesar, 251 ancient manuscripts. Plato, 210 ancient manuscripts. Sophocles, 193 ancient manuscripts. Aristotle, 49 ancient manuscripts. The Bible, 66,362 ancient manuscripts. There is a 1,000-year gap between the original writings of Caesar and the current copies. There is a 1,400-year gap for Aristotle and a 500-year gap for Homer. But what about the New Testament? This is a fragment of John dating to 200 AD. It was displayed in Sotheby's Auctioneers in London. Keep in mind, John died around 100 AD, which means there is only a 100-year gap between this copy and the death of John. John also wrote the Book of Revelation. This copy dates to a mere 75 years after John's death. Just recently, a Gospel of Mark was found in Egypt. It would have been copied around 150 AD, or only about 50 years after John's death. In 1925, a fragment of John dating to 125 AD was discovered in Egypt. That's just decades after the original document was written, making the gap between the New Testament and our current copies only 25 to 50 years. Let's think about it. Do you believe Caesar was a real guy? Then based on the historical evidence, so was Jesus.
Pilate asked, "What is truth?" And Jesus answered just one chapter earlier in John 17:17. Your word is truth. This tiny fragment, this little piece of papyrus, reminds us that the word of God endures. Jesus said in Matthew 24:35, "Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." That's not just spiritual, that's archaeological. So, what is it? A scrap of papyrus with some fading Greek ink, or the earliest surviving copy of the New Testament? The oldest record we have of Jesus' trial, his kingship, and his claim to truth, the P52 Papyrus. But then, you already knew that.